program, and the lady asked, I'm not sure that it, anyways, so she wants to get a trailer, like a mobile home, and I guess on this one it says like there's like a moving fee, like if they purchase it, they need to move it out of wherever it's at.
Okay.
So she was wondering if like you could put that moving fee into the loan, like somehow roll it into the loan. She was like, I think it might be like $20,000 or $30,000 to move it out of there. So she was just like, is that something that's possible that you can roll into the loan?
So she wants to buy a mobile home,
Yeah,
but the mobile home is not going to remain where it is currently.
correct.
So
And
where is it
I
going?
hadn't pulled up. Well, I didn't pull up the thing yet because I just got off the phone with them, and so I hadn't pulled it up yet to ask. And so I'm like, let me just ask while I'm now on this call. But I don't know. I think it's just at a certain property maybe, and it's supposed to get moved elsewhere. And so like, I had read another one of these before that said it needed to be moved somewhere else, and that they don't pay to move it and they won't move it, but that they have a contact where they can, you know, a moving place that moves trailers and so forth. And so I don't know, I guess they would just have to get it out of that place.
But
I don't know
do
if
they
you
have a place to take it? Like that's
Oh.
where.
Yeah, she didn't say. She was just like, because that seems great. She's like $85,000 for a 3-bedroom trailer. But you're right, I didn't even think about that yet, because I was just like, okay, let me find out and I'll call you later on after you get off for work.
So mobile home financing is more complicated to obtain than regular conventional financing. And if the property is not going to remain on the lot, and if she doesn't know where she's taking it, it's probably not going to be able to be financed. Did I lose you? I see other people moving and Maciel has frozen. We'll wait for Maciel to come back.
I see everyone else is frozen.
Oh,
okay,
there you go.
I can see people moving now. Okay.
Okay. I was like, everybody else is still moving and Maciel is frozen. I'll just wait.
Were you able to hear me though?
I heard your question about that. Well, I heard what you were saying. So my point was that financing might be almost impossible. Like you'd have to finance it at that point as like a recreational vehicle, not even like a mobile home. If she doesn't have a location that she's moving it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So part of the value in a mobile home is that it's got a space that you can rent and it's already in place and it has utilities connected and all of that. So that being said, if she was wanting to buy a mobile home and she had a location to put it, and she wanted to try to finance the moving fees and the reconnection fees and all of that into the purchase, I think that's probably possible.
Okay.
And we know the ducks are in a row. And if she's got like vacant land someplace and she's thinking she's going to move it there and install it on her vacant land, then it's probably going to be like a construction loan versus a mobile home loan.
Okay.
I don't know.
it may not just work for her. It may not work out. Yeah.
I mean, there's no point in having a home if you're going to be homeless.
Right. I'm like, I don't think she thought about that. Okay. I'm jotting those notes down.
All right. Yeah. So find out more information. I think you need to get some more information. How is everybody else? Who else we got? We got Anastasia. Who else is hiding? Oh, look, we got Sam and Melissa and Carrie.
Did you go over the question I asked earlier? Did I
Not yet.
Okay.
No. I would never go over your question while you weren't here.
I forgot. I was doing things, got sidetracked.
Oh.
Good to see you though.
Good to see you guys too. Let's see. Oh, the listing. Okay, so if you've got a listing that's sitting And maybe, or let's just, who knows what's going on with it. And you want to pull it off the market. I believe it has to be withdrawn, not temporarily withdrawn, but withdrawn from the market for 60 days for the days on market to reset. However, Barry's should have that information. Let's look and see if we can find it. But I believe it has to be at least 60 days off the market. Oh, didn't like that one. And Barry's isn't participating in the process today.
So I've seen people withdraw before it expires.
Yeah.
Is there a benefit to either one or?
So if you withdraw, so the benefit of withdrawing before it expires is really a benefit more towards your relationship with your sellers and your sellers themselves. When a property goes to expire, then they become, part of those expired people that everybody calls on a daily basis and starts hunting down because they're like, your listing expired. Let me track you down and get you. Oops, hold on. I see what's happening. Give me just a second. I unplugged my computer. All right. Then they get that phone list. So then people start calling them incessantly of, hey, your property expired and your agent didn't do a good job and let me help you sell your house because it obviously expired type thing. And so they get all those phone calls for the expired listings, right? So when you withdraw it, then it doesn't fall on the same list. So you don't get as many, as a seller, you don't get as many phone calls. Is the benefit of withdrawing it versus letting it just expire.
If I withdraw, is it a different form? Do I do the addendum? Or
you would do a modification of terms to cancel the listing. Is what to withdraw it, you'd want to cancel the listing. And if you're going to temporarily pull it off market, maybe there was work being done on the property or something happening, then you would want to just temporarily remove it from the MLS. If you're just taking it off for like a week or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see how I want to try to keep them, but not let other people grab them. And I just wanted to, I want to know the benefits between the expired and withdrawn. We're not there yet. I just want to be prepared and know.
Where you're at.
Yeah.
Let's look. I was just looking at, you can take a rules quiz.
That's good.
That sounds like fun. I was just looking to see if I could see. I think it's 60 days for it to reset the cumulative days on market. So when you temporarily withdraw a listing, it pauses the days on market, but your cumulative days on market, I think get added together. I don't remember. There's something that because that's really what you would want is the cumulative days on market to reset. There should be a way to search. Here we go. Let's try this. Resetting days on market. Here we go. All right. If a property is withdrawn or canceled or expired, days on market will reset to 0 when the new listing is created in the MLS. A new listing agreement is required. If the expired status new listing is created within 10 days of the previous listing, a duplicate will be generated. Cumulative days on market will not reset unless the listing has either been withdrawn, canceled, or expired from the MLS for a full 30 days. On the 31st day with a new listing agreement, it would be cumulative days on market of 0. It would look like a new listing.
Okay.
Whereas if you pulled it off for 3 weeks, if you pulled it off for 29 days and put it back on as a new listing, your days on market would be 0, but your cumulative days on market would be whatever it was at previously, and it would start adding to that.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Still not getting any action on that one, Sam?
No, I had someone show it earlier last week that actually put an offer in on the other one down the street that they
Uh-huh.
pulled out of. And I checked in on the agent and the agent didn't call me back. And they were literally only there for like 15 minutes. So
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's priced now at this point. So
Yeah.
they want to finish working on the deck and then drop the price.
Okay.
75. I don't know if it'll be enough, but at least we'll be in the 1.5 mark.
Yeah, I think then you'll be in the ballpark,
Okay.
hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see.
Did anybody else have something that they wanted me to cover today?
I got a farm letter from Dunn and Purdy,
That's exciting.
right? I'm like,
Uh-huh.
they're farming my neighborhood. So I don't know whether to be happy or sad, because if they get a listing after if I've already gone through, I'm gonna be upset.
Well,
Are you farming that area too? Or no?
Yeah, it's my neighborhood.
I know, but I haven't farmed my neighborhood because I was farming another neighborhood. So I was just.
No, I
wondering if
farmed,
you
I
were-
farmed mine.
but so are you
Gotcha.
consistently marketing in your, so what was their letter? Was their letter like, hey, I've got a buyer looking for a property in your area?
Oh, no, those
Or-
ones came, I've had 2 come to the door from other companies that said they've had a buyer interested. One keeps calling my husband. He told him $1 million and I'll sell. And the guy's like, be realistic. But the one, theirs was, hey, this house on Countrywood sold for this amount if you're interested. So, but I went around and did put my door hangers on, and then I put if they answered the door, if I would talk to them and give them the CMA of the most recent properties that have been sold. So that way they can see.
So when was that?
In the last week or so.
All right. And when was the last time you did that? Before then?
Probably a couple weeks before that.
All right. So what DPC did was not farming. They sent out a mailer.
Oh, okay.
And the other clients, what they did was also not the other agents, what they did was also not farming. They just sent out a flyer, right? They're trying to drum up some business in that neighborhood. But remember, the acronym stands for frequent area repetitive marketing, right? So it takes time and consistency. So if you are farming an area, you want to be frequently and repetitively marketing that area. So you need to be hitting it at least monthly, either by mail or by knocking on the doors. I highly recommend knocking on doors rather than just mail, because you will drum up more business by having face-to-face contact than you will in the mail. And you can look at it as maybe they're kind of helping you as well, because they're making them aware of, hey, this other property sold. So now if you go around and door knock, then they're gonna be like, hey, somebody said this other property sold for that. What do you think mine's worth, right? Like they've started that brain thought process. So now you have the ability to capitalize on that by continually marketing, letting them know that you're like, the neighbor, you're in the area, and really kind of capitalize on the fact that you are that area expert. Like they were just off another listing, sending you a mailer, but you actually live and know the area. You drive it through that neighborhood each and every day, multiple times. Like, you know what's going on in that neighborhood and you are the expert. So now is a good time to capitalize on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't mean they won't get a listing off their mailing, and you just need to make sure you're remaining consistent.
Okay, yeah, because I want to do, I'm gonna do another walkthrough and see if they want to do a neighborhood garage sale like what Melissa did.
Yeah. Neighborhood garage sales are fabulous, and doing activities in the neighborhood that bring value. And you may even, so if you've got an area that you're farming, and like Maciel said, it doesn't have to be your neighborhood where you live. It can be a neighborhood where you just want to do business is where you're going to farm. But doing activities and events, even if it's just things that don't cost you any money, like, hey, in what's next month, June, we're going to do a blanket drive for the SPCA. And in July, we're going to do a food drive for the food pantry, because the food pantries get lots of food in the wintertime, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, but they lack food come spring and summer because everybody kind of forgets about it. So we're going to do a canned food drive. And in August, we're going to do National Night Out at the park, and you can advertise it and just capitalize on that National Night Out. And, you know, so you could do activities and events, like things that would draw people to want to, number one, realize that, hey, this agent, and they're active in my neighborhood. And not only are they active in my neighborhood, but they like to do good things and donate towards good causes and do good things for the community. That's not costing you a dime except for your time, energy, and effort of dropping stuff off on their door, knocking on their doors, and then finding a way to manage those that have pickups, right? So you could tell them they have to register for food items to be picked up, or they could, you know, leave it out on their porch on the day of and text you, or you could do like a text to type code that takes them to Google form or a Jot form that would allow them to put in their information, so that you're capturing their information, they're donating towards a good cause, and all you have to do is pick it up. Same thing with a garage sale, right? Having people register for that garage sale, so you're getting information.
Okay, thank you.
On their farms.
I like what, who was it? Yvonne and Sophie did. I think if how they did, like, everyone always needs to get rid of trash from their house. Like, I thought that was cool to rent out like one of those dumpster things, and then have everybody drop off whatever they wanted. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition to the free options, doing the dumpster, where you have a big dumpster in the neighborhood, and, you know, people can come by and just drop stuff off and throw it in the dumpster. You could do a paper shredding day. Those are usually pretty big. Where you have a paper shredding company come out, and people can bring all their valuable documents that they don't want to throw in the trash, but are, you know, hoarding up their house with, and have them all shredded. So doing some fun things like that as well could also be a huge. Anybody else?
Oh, I was going to say, you got my mind going. Oh, I'm echoing. Why am I echoing?
You're not echoing on my side, just your side.
Oh, there.
Did we lose you, Melissa?
I think she's just muted. You're muted.
Okay,
I think
now
she's
I'm
muted.
working. Am I good?
We
I
can hear you now.
muted.
It's so
muted the
weird. It says
computer
you're
and
muted. It says you're muted, but you're talking.
She's on.
Yes,
She's on
yes, I'm
twice.
talking on that one. Yes, I'm on twice. Sorry, guys. It's magic, Magic Tuesday.
It's victory.
No, I like the dumpster idea because I just did the garage sale. I like that of like being able to do a spinoff on like you know, like keeping your home, like when your home is cluttered and crazy, it's not relaxing, right? So I was like, oh, I like that idea of like getting one of those big dumpsters and kind of spinning it to that of like make sure your home stays that peace, you know, where you're like, not in chaos. So I like that idea. So thanks for mentioning that, because I did not see that, Maciel.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who all has farms? Like actual farms, areas where you're frequently marketing them. Melissa says yes. She raised her hand.
Trying to.
Trying. What is trying?
I know. I had it
Meaning-
and then I stopped. So I feel you guys.
I've only done, like, I just started. I did one point of contact, but I plan to keep doing it. I'm kind of tangoing between like how frequent is frequent without being like, oh, here's that girl again at my doorstep.
So I would say that you could get away with monthly on their doorstep easily. right? So, and this where it comes down to prospecting versus marketing. So if I'm knocking on somebody's door, that's more prospecting. So we want to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. If you wanted to like really hit it hard and you wanted to follow up in 2 weeks with like a mailer or something, you could absolutely do that as well. I would say like the more that you touch the people in your farm, the more likely you are to get a transaction from them, because it just becomes recognition and consistency, right? Do I think every 2 weeks is necessary? No. Do I think if you knocked on my door every 2 weeks, I might like want to shoot you? Maybe. But knocking on my door once a month, whether you send something out in the mail then 2 weeks later, or whether you just drop something off on my doorstep 2 weeks later, that's totally up to you. But it could be just kind of reiterating that consistency. And I would say, just make sure you come with something of value. Like, I just don't want to knock on your door and be like, hey, are you ready to sell? Or do you know anybody ready to sell now? How about now? Hey, how about now? Right? So you want to bring something of value.
Like that
Hey, I'm just
Verizon
gonna go with your
commercial.
monthly neighborhood market update. Or, hey, I'm just keeping you updated that next month we're going to do a SPCA blanket drive for the dogs. Or next month we're doing National Night Out. Or next month I'm going to have a dumpster, right? And then like the week before the event, going by and doing another door knock to, hey, just a heads up, like next week is the dumpster night, right? So I think as long as you're bringing them something that could be of value, I think that you'll be just fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Amy.
And
I mean, if you
Tara,
ever-
just
oh, go ahead.
okay. No, I was gonna say, like, for when I first started my farm, like, I think you're in Fairfield, I believe, or
Yeah.
anyways, and so like I don't know if you know a Ball Metal, but like they do an event, it's a car show, and it's a donation for the kids and stuff like that. And so I just took flyers from that and just shared about an event happening in the community versus something that I'm actually hosting, because then it gave me another touch that way as well. So not always something you have to be putting on in order to be knocking on their door.
I like that. Thanks.
Absolutely. And sometimes just going by with the market updates, keeping them updated every month of what's going on in that neighborhood is valuable to them. So yeah, I think minimum you'd want to be touching them in your farm on a monthly basis, which is why we do recommend too that sometimes we start smaller. When you talk to like most agents that teach about farming, they'll say, hey, you want like a farm of 400 to 500 people, and you want it to be a turn rate of X%. And sometimes that's good, but sometimes it's good to start maybe with only 100 or 200 houses and be consistent in that for a quarter, and then earn the right to grow it another 100 houses and then when you're consistent in that for another quarter or 3 months or so, then you've earned the right to grow it by another 100 until you get to the full market size or that full neighborhood size. But if you bite off 500 houses from the get-go, month 1 or month 2, you might feel overwhelmed and like you're never going to get around to door knock all those doors. And now instead of being consistent, you're just going to quit. Whereas if you only had 100 or 200 houses, you could consistently go do that in 1 or 2 days a week each month and be done with it. So
Makes
start
sense.
small and grow.
Thanks for that reminder, because sometimes like if I do want to hit my neighborhood and start my neighborhood, I'm like, I really want to do all of it. Like it would make me cringe knowing that I stopped on a corner and it didn't do the other side, you know what I mean? And then that's the one that sold, but it's like start a little bit until you can, keep going.
Yeah, be consistent and earn the right to move up. Absolutely. And sometimes let's say you do, when you get to your farm of like 400 or 500, you might decide that, hey, we're only going to door knock on 250 doors a month, and we're going to mail out the other 250. And then the next month we're going to swap which 250 we knock and which 250 we mail, right? So it's okay to do that as well. Melissa, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, because I know Tara, you have children. It's okay to bring your children too. Like I've brought my kids with me to go around and give out goodie things during Thanksgiving, because it is my neighborhood as well. So we went out and gave out cookies with a little thing that had my information on it, with like a little referral or something. But anyways, I had my kids handing it. Thanks for being such great neighbors and things like that. Like tie it in so that way you can get it done too while you have the littles.
Yeah, that's what I did for Red Day. I was pushing them around. I noticed like it kind of softens up them too when they answer the door. They're like, oh, there's kids. Okay. She won't
And you're a
bite.
lot less scary that way.
Yes, they're not as mean. Or as they don't have that look of just like, oh gosh, another person I gotta listen to talk type of deal.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, kids. And it's like, okay. It's like now I'm gonna start bringing my puppy.
So yeah.
What other lead gen methods? I'm causing a problem because I keep opening my phone case or my
Case. And it keeps switching my microphone. I apologize. I'm like, why does it keep popping up a notification on my screen? What other lead gen methods are we doing? And the room was silent.
Mine's just in person type of stuff. I've been just really putting myself into things that I enjoy that I can be able to help. Like for instance, the PTA, you know, I'm doing that, and now come the next school year, I'm the president of the PTA for next year. Like placing myself in places that I enjoy doing those things, but also gonna be able to be known as that realtor too, as for people as well. So
Okay, cool. So activities and events.
mhm.
Who else? Are we still calling our sphere of influence? No.
No, I'm just kidding. You're getting there, getting back on track for that for sure.
I will say that posting and reminding my sphere on social media has helped. I've had 2 friends reach out to me just because I'm like consistently reminding on social media, and they come across it and they like DM me or something. So
Perfect.
that's my lazy way of hitting everybody at once. But I do need to get
That
better
is
at
not
calling them
lazy at all.
individually.
I'm like,
Okay.
that's not lazy because it does take time to do all that.
That's true. But it's kind of like hitting everybody at once versus like calling them personally. I need to be better at that.
Yes, right. So social media is good. It's a good method of making sure it's out there and people are aware. It's also a good method to watch and kind of monitor, like scroll through your feed and see what people are up to and what people are commenting on that may trigger you to think that maybe they do need to move, or they might be looking to buy a house, or they might be thinking about selling, right? So you always want to kind of scroll through and just kind of glance at people. And you can tag people in your Facebook. You can create groups of people. So you could create like Vacaville people or local people versus people that are out of the area, so that you can click on them and view their feeds really easily and see what's going on in their lives. You can also scroll the groups, right? And like comment and help people on posts. So social media is a really good way to get business. It should not replace reaching out to your sphere of influence directly. And what you could do if you're finding that you're more active on social media, not that I'm giving you permission not to call people. However, if you're finding that you're reluctant and you're not getting your calls done, you could go through and do your same like DDD2, do the database 2 system where you call like A and W and D and E and all the letter combinations. You could do that on your friends list on social media as well, where you're sending them direct messages, or you're commenting on their posts, right? So you're focusing in on those people on a weekly basis so that you're kind of spreading the love around. You could absolutely incorporate that in as part of your social media plan.
And I will say with Facebook too, I think too, we get, okay, we're just going to scroll our thing, but you're not seeing all of your friends, so you like, that's one thing. And I have to continue to add people into my command, because then I purposely am on their page to see things, because like I said, if they're not like your top people that, what is it, the algorithm or whatever, you're not going to see them. So you might not see Susan from high school because you've never liked any of her stuff, but she might be looking. So like kind of being purposeful of actually going through like your friends and actually clicking on their pages as well. Just as a
great point,
thought.
Melissa, that your people on your social media should also be in your database, and you should still assign them like a DDD2 or a 555, and maybe your 555 plan is like 1 month you comment on a social media post, and 1 month you send them a direct message, and then whatever, so that it's triggering you and giving you that task. Because you're right, you're not seeing all your friends on your feed, and so it triggers you to be like, oh, I gotta go look at Anastasia and see what she's been up to, and I'm going to comment on one of her posts, which will actually help pull them into your algorithm, and so you're seeing them a little bit more, but it also helps build that relationship. So that's absolutely a great point. You could even create just like a social media 555 plan inside of Command that you can assign your contacts, especially if you've got contacts that you don't have phone numbers and you don't have emails for them, you really just have social media. You create something in there just to remind you to make sure that you're touching base with those people on social media in that way, with commenting and direct messages and all of that.
And one thing I haven't done for because with Command you can tag in their Facebook, you put their link so it's there. And one of my goals in before the end of the year is to really have it flowing where when I make things on designs and stuff like that, that I can target my Facebook group by just going through Command versus having to go on individual pages. And so that's my goal. But really utilizing Command to the fullest on the social media side so that I'm not spending as much time searching through Facebook doing those things. So
Absolutely. So yeah, right. So if you have their Facebook or social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is, Facebook inside your Command, then it's really easy. You pull up that task, you click on their little link, and it takes you right to their page so you can see what they've got going on. Absolutely. What else do we got? Lead gen. Nobody's doing lead gen. What happens if we don't lead gen?
you got nothing in the pipeline.
You got nothing. What about open houses? Is anybody still doing open houses?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I'm trying to
Anastasia?
trying to get it in like every other week if I can, twice a month.
Okay. I think that's good. Twice a month is a good plan, right? Having a plan in place and then executing that plan is fabulous. I would say with your open houses, if you're making that part of your lead gen, right, we shouldn't just do it just for the sake of, hey, I want to go waste 3 hours on a Saturday. It should definitely be part of our lead gen process if that's one of your items. Look at that, like the 10-day open house blitz, where it kind of sets you up on what you should be doing on those days that for those weeks that you have open houses, and what you should be doing leading up to the open house and what you should be doing following the open house, so that you're being consistent in your marketing, your prospecting, and your follow-up plans with those open houses so that you maximize the benefits of those open houses, right? So we want to be make sure we're getting the word out, and that you've got to put a plan in place now. Like, hey, what's that look like? When I say I'm going to get the word out about my open house, where are the 5 places that I'm going to post it? Or where am I sending that to get the word out, right? So that you can be consistent and you don't have to think about it. If we put it in writing and make it a systematic process, and you do it now versus waiting 5 years, then you know that, hey, next week I got an open house coming up. Here's my list of what happens on day 1, on day 2, on day 3, on day 4, leading up to the open house. Here's where I'm going to post it. Here's where I do that. Here's how I do that. In fact, I've already got the post designed in Command. So all I have to do is update the address and pull the information over and then send it out on its way, right? So, or send out flyers to be printed or whatever that might be. But put a plan in place and be consistent and put together a follow-up touch campaign inside a Command, so that you can, once you've got people that came through your open house, they've registered, now you've put them into a Command, and then you can assign them that open house follow-up plan so that everything gets automated and it tells you what you need to do and who you should be contacting each day after the open house. Right?
That part I'm really trying to do better.
So I finally just threw away my open house slips that I've been carrying around for, we won't talk about it now, that never got put into anything, or some of them probably never got followed up on. The amount of money I probably threw away in that pile was hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost opportunities for people that I did not follow up with. So don't be Amy. Follow up with your people. And it's not always tomorrow. Like some of those people are just starting like thinking about the selling process or just starting thinking about the buying process when they pass through your open house. And it may be 2, 3, 4 months down the road before they're like, hey, Melissa, remember I kind of passed through your open house like several months ago and we had a good conversation and you've been, keeping me updated of what's been going on the market. And, we were thinking about selling, but now we're ready. Right. So it's okay. Sometimes it takes a while to move them into that process. So you never want to give up on somebody.
Definitely. I had a person that came to the open house, actually met at your property, and I've been messaged. I probably since then touched them 5 times and had gotten nothing. And I decided to call the other day. I'm like, I'll just give it, because a property hit the market that really seemed to check a lot of the boxes that they were looking for. And so I called. Well, she answered the phone. And so then we were talking and she's like, I'm so sorry I didn't respond. I started a new job, and I was like, for me, I'm like, I could care less what your excuse is. I'm just happy you answered the phone. So then sent the property. And then of course that one, it didn't fit, but I reached out again because it went contingent show. So I was like, talking to them about that. But I'm back in that, and they're selling a property. They're already using an agent to sell their property out in San Francisco. But they want to purchase up here. And so anyways, but got that wheel going again, and just one, I've been consistent, even though they weren't responding, they saw that I was being consistent. So that part was like, really for myself was like, okay, you have to be consistent even when they're not answering, because like you don't know, and they're looking in the millions, so like that could have been a huge commission loss as a possibility of future transaction by just giving up because they hadn't responded after 5 times. So
nice.
Yeah.
Good. Anybody else? Legion, what do you want to do? What should you be doing? Since we've already established we're not doing it, what should we be doing?
Picking at least one thing. That's, I think, what everybody should be doing. I think we still are in that mindset of we have to do it all versus just do one thing well. Like, start, like if it's open house, go do open houses. Like, and I think we just continuously think we have to do everything, and then we don't do anything.
And then you don't do anything, right? That feeling overwhelmed in the abyss of having to do too much creates inactivity. So yeah, absolutely. You guys don't have to do 20 things. Absolutely. Like you could be, number one, everybody should be reaching out to their sphere. So that doesn't count. Sorry. So do that. And then number 2, have one other Legion method that's going to get people added to your database, right? What is that? Is that social media? Is that open houses? Is that farming? Is that doing activities and events? What are you going to be purposeful in doing that's going to help you grow your database and ultimately grow your business? Because our goal isn't just to grow our database, it's to grow our business. But in doing the growing of the database, we will in fact grow our business when we're consistent. So you don't have to do 20 things. You can just choose one. You can be like, open houses weren't my thing. I tried them and I know everybody says they're successful. And that was the most miserable experience I've ever had in my entire life. And that is not my thing. And I'm like, that's fine. Totally doesn't have to be your thing. Pick your thing and go master it. And then once you've mastered something, then I'm going to ask you to pick up another thing. Actually, I'm not. Carrie's going to, because Carrie's going to take over. But Carrie's going to push you to take on your next thing. Your goal should be that you have 3 legs of Legion, 3 different ways and methods in which you are gaining leads and growing your business outside of your sphere of influence, outside of leads from listings. Okay. So your sphere of influence is just, they're no brainer. Sorry. Those that are like, but that brings me unjoy, Amy. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Do it anyways. And then you have leads from listings. So when you get listings, we're going to assume that those are going to help you generate leads, sign calls, social media posts, all those things that come from having a lead, open houses, whatever you're doing on them. And then you should slowly add in those 3 other legs. So right now you might be like, hey, I've got open houses, or hey, I'm doing social media. That's okay. Master the social media, master your sphere of influence, master leads from listings. And then once you have those things kind of nailed down, systems in place, processes moving along, you're consistent in doing it. Now we want to look at adding that other leg because we want to consistently be growing our business, and that's how we'll do it. The other thing that happens is it's really easy when we get a transaction, right? We went from new agent to calling our sphere to doing some open houses, and oh my gosh, I've got a buyer. Maybe it's even from Rise, who knows? And they want to go buy a house, and we have been showing properties, and now we're under contract, and oh my gosh, I haven't done any lead gen for weeks now. Don't let that be you. Prioritize lead gen, because lead gen is how you're going to move your business forward and create consistency. And so it's really easy to drop the ball on lead gen because it's the one thing that you're like, there's nobody screaming at you that you're not calling them, right? They're not like, oh, Anastasia, you missed your phone call this month. No, nobody picks up the phone and is like, hey, I didn't hear from you. Sorry. Right? It just doesn't happen. Nobody's like, hey, I didn't see you post any open houses last month. It's really easy just to fall by the wayside and stop doing that lead gen because we've got a deal going. But then what happens is we finish that deal, and then you're like, well, darn it, I have no idea where my next deal is or what's coming next, and my pipeline's dried up because I wasn't consistently continuing to grow it. So make sure you prioritize that lead gen. That's why we talk about doing it in the morning, like making it those first couple of hours, whatever your goal is with lead gen, to make it first thing. Because if you put it off to the afternoon, inevitably things will happen that'll take up that spot and you'll never get around to it. Your kid will end up coming home sick from school. You'll decide that you need to go to the grocery store instead of go door knock your neighborhood. So you may be like, well, more people will be home in the afternoon. I'll wait. Well, that's great if you're actually going to do it. But chances are you would have been better off door knocking at 9 a.m. than you did waiting until 3. Because you won't do it. Doesn't matter how many people would have answered the door if you don't do it. Does that make sense to everybody? Solid. What'd you say?
I said, don't be a Heather.
Don't be a Heather.
Or
Wow.
Melissa. I had to update command and archive all of the past few. I'm like, I can't handle this, but I'm starting over. But I think that's what I was. Yeah.
It's a thing, right? That's why I'm talking about it. You're not the only one. Like Heather and Melissa aren't the only people that get something going and then forget all about this other thing that they're supposed to be doing.
And I think that's the thing is like, picking the thing, like you were saying, get open houses and stuff like that after Sphere, but really making that the habit. You know what I mean? Like start with Sphere. Don't waste your time doing all these other things. I mean, yes, those things will come, but like really focus on, because then like how you were saying, when you're in a transaction, that's just what you do, not, you're doing this mad scramble because you've been trying to do all these things, but you've never done anything consistently across the board, And so, I mean, even myself for like social media posts, I was doing really good about like my weekly market update type thing. And I was like, all right, this is good. And then as soon as I hit a transaction, it was like, oh, I can't, you know what I mean? Like one time I had it written out, but just didn't go and plug it into my Canva app that all I had to do is type in numbers. I had literally had all the data and I didn't get that far. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, and obviously like once the day goes and that is not correct data in the sense of how for myself, how I wanted it. And so, yeah, so it's just like I said, be consistent on the groundwork that's going to keep going versus adding all that first, And so,
yep.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thoughts, questions, ahas?
I think a huge thing too for me, sorry, let me cancel is not getting caught up, like Melissa was saying, like doing my thing, and not getting caught up. Because I know for me, like I can feel a lot of pressure from like all the meetings that we have at the office. And then all the text messages, sign up for this, email, sign up for this. And it's like, oh my God, and then I think I can go, oh gosh, what's James going to think if I don't sign up for this? Or what's this person going to think if I don't sign up for this? Like they're going to think I'm not doing my business. You know what I mean? And it's weird because I've never been like that, but it feels like the older I get, the more that kind of stuff bothers me. So I think I need to really, go like Melissa was saying, like, this is what I'm gonna do and this is what I'm sticking to, and I'm just gonna be over here doing my thing. And if I can get that in, then I'm gonna get it in. But not trying to switch my priorities and go, oh, I gotta do that first. Because you can train until you're blue in the face, but if you don't put it into practice, then kind of waste of time.
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's a good point. And, you know, we do offer so much and so many trainings and so many opportunities to plug in at the office. It's hard to make choices. And I would like, you know, look at your calendar and look at what's coming up on that next week and be like, hey, I can attend, in addition to PC, I can attend 2 more trainings or 1 more training. Which one's going to bring me the most value to my business and which one's going to cause me to drive my business forward, right? So look for things that are going to specifically relate to your business and what you're wanting to be doing.
Another thing I was gonna say is, since we get on these calls, you know, often, and especially for the people that are, well, in this program, right? We're newer, and so I think, I know you guys have the processes there in place for us to use, and you guys aren't like, you guys are always there if we need help, but I think it's good to revisit, like, just to check in and be like, okay, what are you guys doing again? Just to kind of put a little bit more pressure on us, because I know that you guys don't put that much pressure because it's our business and, you know, we can do what we want to do, like we're adults, but I think it does help when, say, you guys say like, yeah, like we did today, like, what are you guys doing to, you know, help grow your business? And it's like just a really good reminder for us to do it again, you know, because we learn it and then we forget about it, because we are like trying to do every single meeting or like training, you know, and so I think it's a good reminder for us to just to have that check-in and be like, okay, what are you guys doing, you know, at least in the beginning, because that helps us build that routine to ensure that we are doing that what we should do to be successful.
Yes, absolutely.
So I guess, Carrie, for you, I guess, since you're gonna be taking over, like, to check in every once in a while and be like, okay, like, what are you guys doing? Like,
Yep.
have you guys met this expectation like, that
hey,
you guys had for yourself?
I am happy that Ignite 2.0 is over, because that 9 to 10 o'clock hour, I am definitely, like this morning, I've been already made calls, already been checked with my lead. So I'm just happy that time is back, and I'm late with the answer, but I will continue to farm. And he's like, what are you guys doing? I am gonna continue farming and door knocking. That's gonna be my thing, my biggest leg up. So as soon as I get the copiers in the office, I went to the office on Saturday to try to print out some copies, and the printer was down. And I was like, oh, and I'm already behind like a week. So hopefully they get the printer up, because those color pages to print are like 87 cents at FedEx for one page. And that would have cost me like $80 to print out everything. So I had to put it off another couple of days. And so I'm just waiting for that printer. I'm gonna go to the office and hopefully they get that printer up today so I can get me some prints, a lot of stuff printed out.
Fabulous.
Yeah. But I'm happy Ignite is over. That I'm gonna take that time, that I'm gonna keep that 9 o'clock hour for my lead gym. That's what I intend on doing.
Good plan. Anybody else?
Amy, do you have any open houses coming up, or does Shannon?
That is a fabulous question. Shannon does have a couple of listings coming up. So if you reach out to her and ask her if she needs, when their listings are coming on, and if she needs anybody to host open houses, reach out to her directly.
Yes, ma'am.
But she does have a couple.
What was that last thing?
She does have a couple coming up.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Fabulous houses. Fabulous.
Every
right.
house is fabulous. No.
Every house is fabulous.
Can you text me? Can you text me her number so I can reach out to her?
Yes.
Like one more task. Just kidding.
One more task.
One more task.
One
I
more.
think she said she had one this weekend or maybe next weekend when I talked to her. So
Yeah.
it's probably as soon.
Here, tell you
I
what,
have-
instead of
I have
texting.
graduations this weekend.
Oh, that's sad. Instead of texting it to you, I'm just gonna tell you what it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say I needed to.
Okay, you guys ready?
Okay, Amy, because I might need to take that box back if that's okay, that keep lock box, because if I get the Sacramento listing, can I borrow that box again?
Yeah, just ask her. She's got all my lock boxes.
Yeah, I actually gave it to I gave it to Megan and asked her to give it to her for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And if you guys need open house signs, we still have ours available. So you're always welcome to borrow open house signs. Just let me know. They're locked in she moved all the stuff over to the studio. The annex is what I like to call it, but that's frowned upon. We call it the studio because it sounds fancy. So it's all over in the studio.
Yeah.
Right, Carrie?
It's this.
There's our new teacher.
Hi, guys.
All right, fabulous. I'm gonna send you guys on your way today. Remember to RSVP if you want to show up tonight for Q&A.